Hello everybody, I am Famincho, and today it is time to talk about Made in Abyss Episode 1, Season 2, The Compass Pointed to the Darkness. So this episode starts through the perspective of a brand new character that we've never seen before, but it is a character from another time. We're talking about Vueko, dude. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Vueko? Is it Vueko? Vueko. I think it's Vueko. Anyway, we're talking about Vueko, and I like this character. Now listen, kids, this is a series that deals with things in an interesting way in terms of childhood trauma and terrible things that happens to kids. We just need to go ahead and do that. I haven't talked about the series on this channel really, and I feel like I need to paint that picture right away. This is a very graphic series, and it makes that point pretty much right away with this episode. It's dealing with very heavy themes immediately, like literally the third frame of the episode, and we're talking, I can't even mention this on YouTube. I literally cannot mention this on YouTube because of demonetization and things of that sort. This is a heavy series, I'll just say that. It deals with these themes, I think so far respectfully and like in a way that is interesting, and I don't feel like it's pandering or feel like it is weird. I kind of want to make a whole nother video just about that specifically, but Vueko is a kind of a tragic character, and she's on this voyage with the three sages, and there's all these interesting characters going about. There's this white-haired dude, there's this captain of the three sages, and they're on this voyage and they're going to the abyss, the pit, as they call it, and she has the compass, and it's kind of interesting and really, really cool, to be honest. This episode had me pretty much immediately entertained. I absolutely loved this episode. I really did. The point where Vueko enters the portal into the depths of the sixth layer, and it transitions into Riko and Reg and of course Nanachi entering that portal as well from the end of the third movie was really impactful. There's not much progress in this episode. It's really about backstory. It's really about building what's this golden city thing. What is this thing that's been promised to the three sages? What is this capital of the unreturned? I don't really know yet. I don't think this episode really paints that picture very well, but I do think that it paints it in a way that is prolific. Like this is the place. This is a very important place to be. And I don't know why. I have no clue. But just seeing the sort of travels of Vueko and the three sages and what's going on there, I think really encapsulates sort of the meaningfulness of when Reg, Nanachi, and Riko enter this golden city of sorts. I don't know. I have not been spoiled on this series. I don't know what's going to happen. I do know that the Golden City arc is a thing. I know that this is an arc. This the depths of the sixth layer thing is a pretty deep story. I think this is going to be the majority, if not the entire second season of Made in Abyss, but I just don't know what that really means. I have no clue what's going on. Vueko, when she arrives at the island, at the abyss, it seems like this is like hundreds of years ago. You know, before, Riko's people were developed. They're tribesmen and they are living off the land and that sort of thing. And I don't know, they've talked about the perception of time in the abyss in the first season. And I'm curious, like, is she still, a little baby girl down in the abyss, even though it's been hundreds of years? Is that a situation that's going to come about? Or is that just, hey, that's what happened and now she's an old lady? Or, hey, that's what happened and she's been long dead and she sort of established the city in a way, and the three sages and all of that? I have no clue. I really don't. I don't know who Vueko is. I don't know what's going on in the city. And I really love the intrigue. I love the intrigue that this episode creates. The direction of this episode, the opening of this episode, was fantastic because you immediately question what's going on. You immediately question, wait, what? We're in the sea? What's going on? Whoa, this is happening to this character, and this is immediately effed up. Like, immediately I'm already cringing and like, whoa, dude, like, settle down now. What's going on? That happened pretty quickly. It took a little while for the first season to do that. I think it was like episode, I don't know, 9 or 10 when we were like, oh, we're doing this with this series. Okay. Pretty much immediately like, oh, this is effed. This is really messed up. Thematically and character drive speaking, there are some very tragic and heavy things happening. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is a show that is not for children. Not for children at all. I need to preface this. But I don't know. I really like how they set this stuff up. I really like Vueko immediately, and I like the Three Sages. I like this sort of drive that they feel. It feels like sort of like the New World situation in our American history. It feels like these people that came to this place to discover this thing that people have been talking about, but we need to know for ourselves, so we go there. And I dig that vibe. I think that is a very relatable vibe to me recording from America, American history, and sort of what we did. We is used very loosely, but like that whole situation there, it felt like history. And I'm just curious if that history is meaningful to what's happening in the present. That's sort of what's really important to me is, does Vueko and the Three Sages matter to what's happening right now with Nanachi, Riko, and Reg? I don't know. We'll have to wait until episode 2 to find out that. But I did like what they set up. Kevin Penkin is a mastermind. Let's talk about that. It felt like, and I don't even want to say a soundtrack or this is not an OST. It feels like this episode was scored. It feels like an orchestra watched this episode and scored it, played music as it was going. That's what it felt like. Again, I have not talked about this series on this channel. Unfortunately, that is a huge crime. I have not done that, so I feel like I need to finally unleash my love for Kevin Penkin as a composer and as a musician. Just incredible. Kevin Penkin put out a video maybe a few weeks before this episode premiered and mentioned that like a lot of this stuff was done during COVID. A lot of this stuff is digital. You could have fooled me. A lot of this stuff sounded like fully orchestrated, bombastic, and there's huge bands and quintets and things of that sort. I'm not very musically educated, as you can tell, but the soundtrack to this episode was just spectacular. From the opening to the ending, just spectacular. Loved the ending, which I believe is the song for the opening. Really, really dug that. Very, very similar vibes to the opening of the first season. Very, very, I feel like indicative of what this arc, I feel like the Golden City arc is going to primarily be this second season, these 12 episodes. I think that this is the show. The opening mentions, I believe lyrically mentions the Golden City. And I think this is it. This is going to be a very important arc for our characters. I'm just curious where it goes and what's going on with Vueko, and is that going to coincide? Are we going to be telling a story from the past and it's going to relate to the future? Or are these paths going to conjoin in a way where Vueko and Riko and the rest of the gang are interacting? I have no clue. I really don't know. And I love this aspect of reviewing this series and talking about this series because I have no clue what's going to happen. Thankfully and weirdly, I have not been spoiled on this series at all. I have no clue what's going to happen next, and I'd like to keep that. I'd like to keep it that way. So please, in the comments, don't spoil anything. I love this episode. It felt like I was back in the show, man. It felt like I was just back into Main Abyss. Let's go. The story continues. And I really have to, I actually just watched the movie recently, like literally the day before this episode. I've been putting off the movie for quite some time, and the way the movie connects to the first season, the way it connects to the second season, it just feels like, and again, this might be just my perspective and you know, how I pace these things out, but it feels like the show never stopped. It feels like yep, this is it. We're going. And I think that is when a series is at its best. There's confidence in the direction. There's confidence in the score, the soundtrack. There's confidence in the voice acting. There's just a lot of confidence. Even the beginning of the series, the beginning of season 2, this first episode, there's some animation that Zenema Citrus, I don't know how to. I feel like I've heard people say Zenema Citrus. The studio behind this anime, they're making things look a little different. On the boat and those characters, like I was getting some Wit vibes and like how grotesque some of these characters look and how these things are depicted. It felt different from what they've done before, and that's always a good sign, is that these animators and the staff is willing to change things up a little bit. You know, not everything has to be set in stone. We can do weird things with the animation and say, hey, this is a gross character. He's going to look grosser than all of the other characters, and you get that right away. And that's just impressive. And obviously that might go to the original source material, the manga as well. We're like, I'm just going to make this fucker look really, really gross. Let's just make him look really grotesque and weird in comparison to everyone else. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, this felt like it felt very much like a first episode to a second season. It was sort of establishment. There's poop jokes. I gotta mention the poop joke. It worked. It really worked. It's not the first poop joke, but it worked. I really like this episode. Hey, if you're still watching this video, comment below. Give me your thoughts on Made in Abyss episode 1 of season 2. Let me know what you thought of this whole thing. Are you a big fan of this series? Do you feel that this was sort of a slow start? Do you think the manga did it a little better in terms of, like, you know, chapter by chapter? Are you hyped for what's to happen next? No spoilers, of course. I will just straight up, I will delete the comment. I will not even read it if I see anything. Like, I'm going to read down if I see anything that, like, I don't recognize. What is he talking about? Oh, that's deleted immediately. I won't tolerate it. I won't. A lot of us are watching this show blind. We don't know what's going to happen in the manga, so let's be respectful of that. But I do want to hear your thoughts on this first episode of season 2. I do want to know what you guys think of this whole thing. That's the whole point of this thing. So please comment below. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more Made in Abyss content, make sure to subscribe. If you want to see gaming stuff and all of that sort, hit me up on Twitch. All these things are down in the description below. I really appreciate your viewership. I really appreciate you clicking on the video and watching the video. It's been a long time since I've done some anime reviews. Feels good to be back. Feels good. I will get these up earlier as we progress throughout the season. I'm going to review episode 2 of season 2. I will be doing that. I'm going to try to get those up a little bit earlier as we progress through the series. It's been a while since I've done this thing. It's been a while since I've like, oh shit, I got to get up early for the series and watch this thing and review it early, you know? So give me a little leeway here and there, but we will be talking about this series in the future. Thank you so very much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. And until next time, party on.